Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. We've got Bean. He is back. WZ111 5A, and we are here on Fjords. He's gone down to the south. About a week ago, maybe two, it'll depend on when I get this video out, I had a video featuring Bean on this very same map, on this very same corner from the south. And I called it a classic takedown. He was driving a T-30 in that case with the big fearsome boomstick. Put the fear factor in people. And they pretty quickly overwhelmed a slightly smaller force on this corner. But this time we're going to look at a more carefully considered brawl on a corner with a lot more maneuvering, more of a chess match than an outright push and brawl. You can see that Bean sees he's got an Emil 2 coming in, and he falls back a little bit here. And that's pretty wise. He's going to come around here and see if he can get some shots. The T-57's gone around the corner, but he's a fast heavy. And you have to be careful on this corner, thinking to yourself, oh, I got here first, and holy cow, they don't have anybody, because it turns out they did. So Bean sees that happen. He's going to use this rock. This is a great rock to side scrape off of. He's got the WZ111 1-5, which is a pretty bouncy tank, especially the turret. T-57's having a little trouble over here with the 113. And of course, the hold down Emil 2 is a whole nother problem, because he can sit there on that backside and just shoot into you while you bounce off of his turret. And right now you can see Bean is just looking for a shot. So he sneaks here, but he's got gun depression problems. He's trying to get in, and he finally sneaks one in. And he will spend the rest of the game here, most of the game here, trying to figure out how it is he can get in here and get shots. So just a little side scrape. Goes for the side there, but it looks like maybe it got up into the turret. In any event, it was a bounce. They've got 4 tanks, but there's a 113, Panzer 7, and an Emil. And you can see that the Emil is probably the biggest problem. Really unable to push in there, because you're going to take a hit from the Panzer 7, you're going to take a hit from the 113, and then the Emil is really going to put the hurting on you. So unless every single one of these guys can push at once, which is unlikely in pubs, and nobody really wants to go after the Emil, so you've got that fear factor of the Emil's autoloader. Panzer 7 makes a big mistake, and that's where we get into the chess match piece of this. T-30 is, I'm not really sure doing what, but he gets in there and gets a shot, and you'll see that Bean comes back and he just looks for that one spot that he needs to put a hit on, and that is good and bad. The good is they've knocked the Panzer 7 out. The bad is they've added a little bit more cover for the enemy tanks hull-wise down there, so they're going to have a bit of a trick. This is good SA right here. Bean is going to notice pretty quickly that there's a Badger just driving hey diddle diddle right up the middle. They have a slight advantage. He's going to come around here, find the Badger being silly, puts a thump on him, and just backs out and starts turning around. And what I like about that, that's something good players do. There was no reason to sit there and stare at that Badger. The Badger was going to die. Let's say the Badger didn't die, he could have backed down and taken a shot. So what he was doing was repositioning immediately to where he needed to be. He's going to come up here and see if he can do some side scraping. Right now he's trying to bait that Emil to take some shots. Maybe the Emil tracks him, maybe the Emil fires a couple more shells in trying to get some damage, and now the Emil's down to 1 shot, and it gives them more options, but the Emil's not falling for it. And then the JPZ-100 shows up. So whether he was back to the whole time, I'm not sure, but he's here now, and we're back to being much more careful. Leopard PTA is behind him doing not much. There's an E-75 back there also sort of sitting there. The T-30's in a bad position. Really, the T-30's clogging up the works here. A couple times it looks like he was considering going after that top part, and there's the weak spot, the only real weak spot that he can see on the JPZ other than the lower hole. I might have actually tried to take that shot, but that would have been very difficult. I'm not sure if the JPZ knows he's hiding that little cupola thing up there. If he's doing it on purpose, good on him. And then as he pushes it, look how it's fading back, or it's angling backwards. He just doesn't have a really good shot on that thing. You can see that's what he's looking for, and then he just punches through the flat plate with the heat. And I think that shot was probably there the whole time. I don't know if he realized that until he took the shot, because that's what he's going after right now. Actually, he went after the turret thing again, or the cupola. They've got a slight advantage at 7 and 3. The T-30's not doing a whole bunch. The 113 is exposing himself a little bit now. Leopard PTA comes up. And just a chess match here. Bean is attempting to create shots. He's attempting to bait some shots to give him some options if they shoot and miss. looking to minimize the amount of exposure. Look at him looking for weak spots. And just a little late. I think he probably would have wished he'd shot much earlier than that. AP is arguably a better choice on shots like that, but because he's loaded with the heat, it takes a long time to reload relatively. The angles from the heat, or the angles on the armor, really messes with the heat. If you can hit it straight on, that's good. You got the extra pin. And now he's going to come up here and he's just going to look for that casemate shot right into the upper casemate. Picking these guys apart. Still really unable to push in. This one kind of challenges the JPZ to hit him, which he obliges. And now the Emil is back hull down. Trying to get around the T-30. The Leopard makes a good move, pushes in there, gets around behind the JPZ and takes him down. And the Emil is still a problem here. And so they take advantage, push on in here. You see that the 113 actually left, so the Leopard PTA pushed in when the 113 was gone, was able to get around the JPZ because he was reloading. Let's speed this up, because after that nice, careful work on the corner, on the careful brawl, Bean's got to come all the way across here. He's at 3,900. This is another good example of a good player just pressing W until he gets to the rest of the hit points. Laps that guy in the side. The 907 takes him down. Go on, we hit the WT. 907 gets around, down goes the WT. And we just keep pressing. And this is pretty interesting. Actually, the Progetto came around behind them. Bean goes all the way around this way and then shows back up over there. But the Progetto shows up. He cuts this way thinking the Progetto might be trying to get away. And all the way around. He just presses W till he gets to the hit points. And this is not necessarily over. Pretty close. But if they screw up with the Progetto, and he's got some decent hit points, and he just takes that 500 hit point hit, now he's in big trouble. Bean's coming in here. It goes after the 4005. 4005 hits him, but is unable. I don't know if he actually took damage going off the hill, or if the 4005 maybe hit him with HE. But in any event, 5,452 damage. A really great example on the corner of a careful takedown, a more considered brawl, if you will, more of a chess match than just an overwhelming push like I showed you on the one that we called, what did I call it? Classic takedown. There you go. Really a master's class in how to deal with your armor, how to angle, how to try to create shots, how to bait the enemy into getting into positions where you can take shots on them. Nice job, Bean. Thanks for sending that in. I do appreciate it, and we will see you.